about it more publicly. I think the thought, it all sounds good, and it would be more exciting certainly for everybody in the spring if you were playing somebody else. The problem with spring is a lot of your guys, assuming they have things after the season, maybe a surgery here and there, you don't have those guys during that time. As spring goes, the nice thing about spring is you can control it. And you may not want to play in that spring game full speed or live because of that, but if you're locked into a game, you're kind of stuck. You got to go out there and play it, and you might end up with the only guy you have left is your starter of some kind, and the guy's going to play the whole game, and the other team's going live. And one of the things, the only one of the negatives about it is you control the tempo in your practice, teach it a certain way. You don't always know that's going to happen from an opponent. But overall, like the excitement of spring, because everybody knows the spring game, you can only divvy it up so many ways. And if you have two full teams, it makes it more exciting and fun. A lot of times it's O and D because you're trying to control it and just get the reps you need to get and really finish spring on a high note and keep everybody healthy going into the off season. So I don't know. It's a tough one. It's a tough one. I think if it was something that everybody did, then it just becomes part of how you prepare and plan. And it's kind of like its own little mini season. But I don't think coaches are going to go for that just because of, I think the way practices have gone already, where they've limited some contact and different things, then you have a game at the end of it. You're just trying to maximize getting better at football, and probably it's just practice time at that point.
On Monday, Andy was asked about the depth on the D-line, so it was going to be tested. I know Durant and David had gone out. How are those guys looking? And it did seem like he's expecting that to be tested now or in the future this year.
Well, the depth?
Yeah,
absolutely. I think our depth's always being tested on the D-line. It's a physical position. But you have Chase Atata, Matt Locker, Emmanuel Facility. Those guys have stepped up. Coyote has been in there playing. So we've had more guys, and we talked about this before, they're playing better. But you get some guys banged up. Those guys, the guys we expect to play. But at the same time, it's tough in there. When somebody's getting knocked around there, you try to keep them in for 60 plays like we tried to do last year. It makes it difficult. So now our substitution is better, which is giving those guys, those backups, more opportunities. They're playing better, which is why we're able to do that more, and that really needs to continue. But as the season goes on, you start losing guys, whether it's O-line or D-line. That being a really physical position, unlike a skill position where you can go in there and kind of be off the guys and not have to be as physical, it becomes difficult.
Back on Monday, Zach said that he kind of felt that maybe Brett was going to have a nice game last week, and talking with Brett today, he mentioned that he took a moment to chat with both you and Zach, and maybe to reiterate confidence in each other, or something kind of to that effect. And I'm just kind of curious, what was that conversation about?
Just one of those that you have with your players. I think you have them every so often, and really it was just, where are we? And it's really just about, the offense, hey, we're doing things the right way. It's sitting down just like you do as coaches. It's sitting down with your players and just asking them, all right, hey, what do you think? Because it's all about getting better. You've got to involve the players to do that. So, hey, are we practicing this? What are some of the things that can help? And, these guys are smart. They have ideas. What if we start with this? What if we do a little bit more of that? Okay. And really, for me, it's a chance to sit there and hear what the players have to say, too, with certain positions, and say, I think, this could help, or I think what we're doing is great. Hopefully you hear that. Hey, everything's going great, but you also want to hear ways we can improve. And I thought our meeting was very beneficial. And, you go out there and then you have a great week of prep. It shows up in the game. You have confidence. And not like we didn't before, but it's good to have those conversations. I just think communication, we talk about it all the time on the field. Well, I think off the field you have to do it as well. It's equally as important.
Doing something on Andy and kind of what he's done with this defense, with a young defense. And as a coach, what have you seen from him that's enabled him to kind of bring this young group together and get a pretty consistent performance this year?
Well, I think coordinating is a lot more than just what you see on the field and just with your players. It's about the whole organization of getting what you want, the theme, the plan, whatever you want to call it, implemented for that week. And the process for the most part stays the same, but the challenge is different every week. So I think as a coordinator, you got to have a vision of, all right, this is what we did. So you know who you are, you self-scout, you look at it, here's where we want to go. And then it really starts with that. Then you look at the opponent and say, okay, here's where we need and want to go. What do we do now? How do we get that done, and how is it going to be beneficial for us with the team that we're going to play? So I think he's done a really good job of that, and I think the staff has as well. It's not just one guy. The staff all has to come together. That's coordinating, is bringing everybody together. You bring the staff together, then you bring the players together. You have a vision of this is where we're going now. Okay, this is what we did, this is where we're going. And then you go out there and actually implement that vision. And you do it on a day-to-day basis. Obviously the football part of it is details, film, showing those type of things. And then it all comes together. So to me, that's just, it's another year of doing it. I know when I was a coordinator, the guys around you, extremely important. You learn how to go in there and continue to keep teaching and do it in a way that kind of hits everybody, and I think he's done that. Andy's always been a guy that has taught well, understands what we're doing, can make complicated things very simple, and allow his guys to go out there and play fast. Well, that's happening with, I think, on the defensive side with our players and the coaches and everybody doing that together.
Well, I know a lot of the coaches that have been around here for a long time identified him early in his career that he was someone who was going to be a good coach, and you were around him as a player. But what did you guys all see in him that made you guys, so many good coaches, feel like he was going to be a good coach himself?
Yeah, attention to detail. I think everybody, that's one characteristic, attention to detail, that you really, you can take what somebody gives you and you can go out there and actually teach it and have somebody execute it. I think there's more to it than that. I think it's just that drive in whatever you're doing to want to be really good at it. I think that's the key ingredient. And when you have attention to detail, then you have a knowledge of the game. You have some things, some skills, whether it's putting together a great teach tape or how you communicate to a group, then that all adds to it. And he's had those. I mean, when he was a player here, he was a smart football player. He cared about the details. When he's been a coach, it's the same way. So, the person he is what makes him successful at what he's doing. And then the skill he's built through developing himself as a coach, that's where it shows up.
I don't know if it's luck or what have you, but the fact you guys were able to get Montel Kozar when you did, and the way that he's been able to fit in, whether it's culture-wise or personality, whatever, how do you guys feel about that? I want to say, do you feel luckier? But I mean, to have a guy like that, you were able to get him in there, and certainly he's fit right in.
Yeah, we feel lucky. Yeah, we do. I mean, and really, maybe not so much as how we went about getting him. We know that process, and it's recruiting, but we didn't know we were going to get such a fantastic person. I've said that all along. I know we can play. I know he can go out there and help us win games. But very rarely does a guy come in and at least make that big of an impact in a short amount of time, and it's just because of who he is. It's how he's handled it. We've talked about the quarterbacks, how they both handled it, and I think a lot of it has to do with Montel and just his approach to whatever I have to do to help us be successful. And everybody says that. He's really like that. So to me, we got lucky with having an unbelievable person. On top of it, he's fun to watch him go out there and play and execute, and he's having fun. So it carries over into the whole team.
Thanks.
Thank you.